All right, I'm sharing my screen now. So these are absolute truths no one wants to hear. Of course, they're from Reddit, so they're not absolute truths. And this first one, I don't know if I totally agree with this all the time. I think for most people it's true. You can't control what happens to you, only how you react to it. However, there are psychologists that will tell you some people are born narcissists, some people are born sociopaths, some people are born psychopaths. Do they really control how they react to things?
Yes.
Well, it's not that. It's what it says though. It says is you can't control what happens, only how you react to it. Meaning that you always have a choice. If you're the narcissist and it's not your choice, but know that the opportunity is before you. Whether you take the opportunity to react or to be responsible for your reaction is one thing, and if you don't, that's another. I don't think it's saying. I just think it says that you always have that opportunity. That's whether you seize the day, whole nother matter.
At the end of the day, everybody has a choice, and whether they choose to embrace their what is it, a condition or personality? I don't know what it is. Whatever they choose to do, it's still an option. So if you know you're a sociopath, if your instinct to really want to kill that bunny is going to happen, you made that choice.
And if you don't know you're a sociopath, you still may make that choice and do it.
I think everybody has a choice and an option. So I completely agree. Regardless whether you're a sociopath, a narcissist, I don't know. Well, you know what? Now I'm questioning it in reference to people that suffer from bipolar disorder.
Well, see, that's what I was going to bring up. Is I thought you would question it because we talked about bipolar, and we talked about how sometimes bipolar people in the moment, their reaction, now maybe later and they will ask for atonement or something, but in the moment their reaction might be something that's...
Yeah, but sociopaths and narcissistic people are shown to have a higher IQ and less likely to react on impulse. I believe. I don't know. I gotta go back.
I don't know if those are related, but I'm not a psychologist.
Hot takes from Stacy.
What do you think there, Seth?
I find it interesting that you all are focusing on the last phrase of this universal truth. Can you control what happens to you, or can you not?
Sometimes and some not.
I think it's interesting that we talk about the importance of choice, but there's also an absence of choice in the first half of this statement.
Right. I mean, look, like you can't really blame anyone else if you walk into the middle of like a Lakers riot or something, right? Like you walked in, you're going to get hit with a brick.
How the Lakers celebrate their NBA title? Throwing bricks?
I don't know if they still do. I think actually, didn't they win recently? I don't watch sports, but
you can't control what happens to you.
Maybe I should have said the Dodgers.
I think to an extent you can control what happens to you.
To an extent, like, okay, I'm.
Well, yeah, that's what I said though. This one,
because I learned the hard way. I got
what I said. Typical woman thing, turning my words on me.
I went and used a crosswalk and had the right to cross the street on a crosswalk, and I still got plowed by a car.
Sure.
So, yeah. I can't really control the impact of the car.
You could have just stayed home. You could have stayed home.
But what led you to that crosswalk, Stacy?
What led me to the crosswalk?
Why weren't you in a car like a normal human being?
Because I had to get to my car.
Unbelievable.
That's so funny.
I legally went. I decided to follow the law and comply.
Well, that's your first problem.
So how about who wants to read the next one?
I'll read it. Let's see. I'm scared. Let's see what we got here. Just because someone is related to you doesn't mean they are a good person.
I can second that.
Nobody's at odds with that.
But I think this also counts for ancestors as well, because some people get upset when you talk about the past ancestors that they've had, and you go, hey, well, this ancestor you never met, did you know that they also did this thing? And they go, how dare you say that about my ancestors? And this has to come into play there. Just because someone's related to you doesn't mean they're a good person. I'm saying this as a Spaniard. I know we did some shit. So,
Yeah, my dad's family.
Yeah. I think the issue with that, though, is that you're taking history out of context, which is also not fair.
Oh yeah, I can't
Right.
I can't be held responsible for my, I mean I can atone, but I had no control over what my dad's ancestors
Right,
did.
but
I'm not proud of it. I
Well,
didn't
no.
migrate,
What I mean though,
you
what I mean though is you like, okay, so there's a whole bunch of discussion actually regarding this kind of idea
Yeah.
without the relationship, but by association we're all Americans, and maybe we're not all proud to be Americans, but there's a whole like the 1619 Project is, I think, taking a lot of historical events out of context or misrepresenting history altogether.
But this is the thing. So I fight people about the 1619 Project only because history, as we've learned it, has also taken history has been sanctioned by public schools in this
Sure.
country, K through 12, over a whole lot of years, has also lied and pulled a
Oh,
whole lot
yeah.
of things out of context and
Sure.
done nothing to repair them, and
Yep.
then has the nerve to come along and say, well, this is pulled out of context, but no one policed what's in our textbook and what has become like the lexicon, what has become the way that
Yeah.
we do things and how we respond. So
Yeah.
I admittedly, I'm not going to sit here and say I've read the 1619 Project word for word, but what I will say is that as I learned more and more about it, or any movement for that matter that says, hey, history as we've learned it has been based not only on alleged facts of the time from whoever, but it is also based in the idea that these things came and happened for these reasons and out of these contexts because people were dealing with this. But if so much of that is based in untruth, then how do we really know what the real motivations were, let alone the fact that there can be so many holes poked in these alleged facts? So
I mean,
it's hard for me, like not just because you said you have you have this concern with the 1619 Project, but I feel like there's been a lot of not just out of context. There's been a lot of lies. There's been a lot of out of context. There's been a lot, and it has been and still is accepted as how we teach our children, and will teach children to come until enough new history books are written. You get a choice when you get to college. But
we're
in this case,
we're barely getting rid of the Christopher Columbus crap, right? There's some schools that don't even, some still do, but some don't now.
Thanksgiving. So anyway, so that's my claw out on you, Seth.
No, anyway, I think that's fair. But I think good person, though, we act as though that's an objective truth. And I think what makes someone good is arguably also a bit of subjectivity on what the person thinks is appropriate, right? And so it's like, well, in the 1800s, was it appropriate to own someone else? Apparently. Was that right? I mean, not
legal,
now.
I don't know if it was appropriate. It was legal.
Well,
we agree it's legal. I think that's where we probably then would
Sure.
argue.
Sure. But in a religious context too, there are lots of issues with that as well, right? I mean, I just think clearly, just because someone's related to you, that doesn't make them a good person. So,
I really just wanted to bring this up so I could say that the Spartans were Greek Nazis. Stop celebrating them. Anyway,
you're just trying to hit on USC or the Trojans? What are you trying to do here?
Yeah,
Dan,
the Trojans.
What's your ulterior motive?
Yeah, fuck them. Anyway,
that's for sure the best absolute truth you have shown so far.
And then I guess we're going to skip to our last one here, just because we got to do something. So, someone read that. And do it in his voice. Johnluke Picard. Who can do Johnluke Picard's voice?
Oh, John.
Stephen, let's go. Stephen.
Oh, wow. That's going to be really bad. It is possible to make no mistakes and still lose. This is not failure. That is life. I don't know. I don't know.
It started out Sean Connery, and I don't know where it ended.
It was Johnluke Picard.
Wasn't bad.
Ish. I know it's better than what I could have done. That's for sure.
It was as evolutionary as our history currently is.
Yes.
Number 2, did you do this in my chair? Anyway,
what does number 2 work for?
So I actually think this is one of the harshest truths. This was actually the number 1 voted one, and it's actually true. There are people out there have done everything. They read the books, they did everything right, and they still somehow chaos says, bye, smash. You know.
I mean, I think this pandemic brought that to light for a lot of people, unfortunately. I mean, small businesses that were doing well before the pandemic got hit really hard. And it was something that they had absolutely no
control over. Back
And
to the other one.
It also really exposed how wealthy people who have not just generational wealth, but like wealth unlike we've ever seen before, Jeff Bezos especially, that the wealthy are really not affected when the real wealthy people are not affected with the type of shit.
Well, wait, what do you mean? Hold on, you're talking about my brothers here. What are you talking about?
You're like, Jeff Bezos is suffering.
Are you kidding
we gotta
me?
have you back on for part 2. We gotta have you back on. Like, we gotta have you back.